Well, hello everyone. This is Father Michael Tischel,
This is Strati Papa Georgiou.
and we are an
Perfect
Imperfect
pod-
Podcast.
Cast. Cue music.
Good afternoon, my friend.
Yes, it is. Oh, good afternoon. It is 1:16
Yep.
in the afternoon.
Yeah,
We haven't done one in a while.
it's been a little while.
We've skipped a couple feasts.
Yeah.
A couple major feasts.
Just kind of zoomed right by them.
Soon right by them. It's all good.
Yep.
Nativity.
Nativity, Theophany,
Yeah, those are the two
big ones.
major
Mhm.
feasts,
New Year's as a
secular.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Feast of St. Basil. On
Feast of St. Basil.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here we are.
Here we are. So I have a headache.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna lie.
I'd appreciate it if you told me the truth.
My head hurts.
Okay.
So that's definitely
That's
not a lie.
Okay, it's true. Yeah. You also got a haircut
It's
recently.
been well.
I
what,
mean,
2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Your hair doesn't grow very quickly.
It doesn't grow that fast.
That's good. Mine just sprouts like
Yeah.
a chia pet.
A chia fed, huh? You just pour water on it.
Yeah,
Isn't that actually what the advertisement said? Just pour water on it.
something like that. And then it was like chia.
Oh god.
Yes. All right. So what are we talking about today?
We're talking about responsibility.
Oh gosh.
I know. I hate
It's
responsibilities.
like a slap in the face.
I don't like responsibilities.
Yeah.
I don't like them.
Yeah. So I was thinking. I mean, this is going to be a little bit of a shorter one.
Yes.
So let's just kind of dive in.
Yeah.
I mean, literally right before we were on the air, one thing that came to mind was just the word itself, responsibility. I never really thought about this whole sense of like the ability to respond. To be responsible is to be able to respond.
Yeah. It's interesting.
To have that like, and it's almost like this ethos, this kind of posture towards life that I'm not just kind of like, life comes my way, different situations and circumstances, people come my way, and I just kind of like sit there like this, like, couch potato and just kind of like, yeah, whatever.
So you mean me on most days?
Me on most days.
Well,
no, I mean, it's, there's this like inner posture of just like, all right, let's do this. Let's
right.
Let's get the, and I don't know where that comes from per se, or if you just
What,
kind of
the
force
word?
yourself. No, the actual posture itself, like force yourself to kind of like be ready to go.
I feel like some people, it can come with experience in years.
Mm-hmm.
They've trained themselves to I have a task and I go
Right.
and I do it.
Yep.
I have a task and I do it. I have a task and I do it. And that's
Be
probably
responsive.
something you learn.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that it's something you don't already just have.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you have an OCD type personality.
Yeah.
Or nothing that extreme, but maybe you're just prone to it. But I remember when I worked at Publix.
Mm-hmm.
It is a grocery store for all those of you who don't live in the Southeast.
Yep.
The store manager would walk at a pace, like a very fast pace. It's just how he'd walk.
Right.
He'd have this like step about him where he just everywhere he went, people would workers would point it out, like, you walk like that everywhere.
Right.
And he said, I just learned it over time. It just became a habit.
Yeah.
So that's how he, his ability to respond to
Sure.
the work, the job is quick.
Yeah. And I think in the midst of that, we have to acknowledge that, responsibility, the ability to respond, doesn't necessarily mean being a robot. I think there are probably two extremes here. Like there's the one where it's just like you are like this like
Working in the retail industry.
well, yeah, okay, that's a whole nother topic.
Well, I mean, you're like a robot sometimes.
Right. No, and I believe it. You just have to kind of do what you have to do and
Right.
not think about it. But,
Exactly.
But I'm thinking more in general, like the quality of responsibility, the virtue of responsibility, right, doesn't have to be this kind of robot-like thing. It's like on the one hand, you have like the going through molasses, just like malaise and kind of like sluggishness. On the other hand, you've got this kind of like either frenetic or just like mechanistic, like mechanical kind of response to life. And I think, I think we have to acknowledge that the true sense of responsibility comes from the heart. It's not just a somatic or a kind of like a rational kind of thing. It's like this, it's this quickening of the heart, I think, and of the spirit that sort of allows us to respond to life. And the opposite of that is this is kind of like, inability to move, and kind of like, what the fathers characterize as like, rathimia is one, and just like this kind of sluggish indifference. And then I know akidia is a separate kind of struggle, or vice. And, sluggish indifference, and then more of this kind of sense of despondency, and kind of akidia is more of like a, I think,
akidia,
with a D or the. Regardless, it's being able to respond to what life throws our way.
I think it's there's so much that we need to, sometimes I think about all the different things we need to keep in mind.
Right.
You don't really need to even play a game on your computer in order to play the game of life in real life. Not even the board game, but right. I know that's where your mind went. But you gotta make sure your teeth are fine, make sure your health is fine, make sure your money is good. You have enough money, you have enough food, you bought food, you did this, you did that, you did the other thing. I mean, your life is full of responsibility.
Right. Responsibilities.
And in all of that, I guess where I would go is like in all of that, and also on top of it, you have to place your spiritual. And where does that fall and all of that?
Well, it's interesting though, like to hear you talking about like the different areas of responsibility in life, like health and all those kinds of things, and obviously they're all wonderful.
Sure.
But there is also, I think,
important,
a temptation with like getting lost in quote unquote responsibilities.
Yeah.
Like the whole Mary and Martha distinction, right? Where it's just like all of these different things that we're anxiously caring about, and how that gives us a sense of
what was
importance.
The Mary and Martha?
Oh yeah, for those of you who are completely biblically illiterate. No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe.
No, I'm sorry. That's very harsh, because I'm also very biblically illiterate when it comes to the Old Testament. But anyway,
sure.
The scene when Christ visits his friend Lazarus's sister's house, Mary and Martha, and Mary is sitting at Jesus' feet, listening to his teaching or to his word, and Martha is busily kind of doing all of the preparations for the meal and washing things, all this stuff, and Martha, notices that Mary's just kind of sitting there, and goes to Jesus and says,
almost rightfully so.
Right.
In a human.
And on a human level, it's like, she's not doing anything. I'm getting the meal together, and Lord, tell her to get to work. And Jesus, points in this direction of, he says, Martha, Martha, you are anxious about many things. You're caring about many things, but there's only one thing that is needful, and Mary has chosen the better part. And
or portion,
yep. So it's this kind of sitting at Christ's feet and receiving and being receptive to his word. In this story, it was actually the most responsible thing that she could do, right? Because if we're talking about responsibility from the perspective of responding, the ability to respond to life, well, when life with a capital L walks into your house, what's your response? Is it all of the responsibilities and busying yourself with all the responsibilities, or is it stopping all of the busyness and allowing yourself to hear the word of life, and the words of life? And so in that sense, it's like responsibility I think probably starts with communion. Communion with life on a deeper level, which takes some undoing of our responsibilities or some stopping of our busyness. Because I think we when I made that distinction between like robot like kind of like responding to life and then just like malaise and like being very sluggish, I think it's actually possible to be very sluggish and very busy at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, I think you can busy yourself with all this random stuff while deep down inside you're not caring for the deeper stuff.
Yeah. For sure. Well, I mean, on so many different levels, not even just the spiritual, but that's the most important, of course. But you're doing a job that you really don't like, but you're doing it really diligently.
Right.
For instance.
Right.
You're really good at it, but you don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You hate it, in fact. But you do it.
Yeah.
And you do it well. Isn't that interesting? That happens to a lot of people, I think. I think the vast majority of people in the business world, for instance, or the corporate world, or that kind of world, they're just doing it so they can live. They're not doing it because they like it.
Yeah. And it's one thing to like a particular occupation and then have days where you don't like it or something like that. That's different. But what you're talking about is like you've sort of resigned yourself to doing this for whatever reason. You're good at it, you're doing it well, but like deep down inside there's not a sense of love for it. There's no you don't connect with it on any level, and you're sort of you're sort of dead.
We had an assistant store manager at Publix when I worked there, who basically kind of confided into an employee. Yeah. That's kind of how he felt.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
It is. Well,
but I think that the whole thing is that we've busied ourselves with so many other things, and whether it be that or whether it be the job you're doing so you can move up in the ranks, so you can make more money, so you can get a bigger house, buy more things, and all of that. And then we neglect the deeper connection to the true reality, which is God, which is the kingdom of God, and all of that. And I think we all do it to some extent, but it's one of those things that I think that we don't comprehend it. We don't realize it. We live in this mundane. I don't see lights and signs and miracles on my daily life, and then my mind starts to slip into what's in front of me, into the monotonous, into the weather, how my head feels right now. My leg hurt, or my leg doesn't hurt, but if it did, or whatever is wrong with, or whatever problems you have, you just sort of slip into that. And then you forget about connecting to God through the mysteries of the church, through the deeper, more profound part of life.
Sure.
And even then, when we go to the services and we're there, we don't feel anything. We think we don't feel anything.
Sure.
Anyway. It's really all happening, right? Isn't that
absolutely?
The angels really all around us, but we don't see them.
Yeah.
We say, "Well, I took communion. I didn't feel anything."
Yeah.
Yeah. And that can be a little disheartening to some,
Sure.
But it's there.
Yeah.
It's definitely there, and we have all the examples of people and saints and things like that. Life is it's like a trudge. Is that a word?
Yeah.
It's like trudging through. It's like just going through the motions, going through the thing, doing the thing.
Right.
Okay, I need a little entertainment, some stimulation, and to get away from the quote responsibilities.
Right.
But which also becomes responsibility. I need to be responsible for the relaxing.
Right.
If we just calm ourselves, kneel, and pray from the heart, and go to the services. Not just go to them to be there, but to go there and truly pray from the heart.
Yep.
You will notice. Something will happen.
Yeah.
Something will happen. I mean, it
might not come in the way that you expect or at the time you expect, but
no. And I had an experience once, and I don't know if this was clairvoyance, if clairvoyance on the part of the nun, abbess, or not. But I was going through a difficult time, and life wasn't going the way you wanted it to. And she didn't know that, and I was visiting the monastery, and she just looked at me and went, "Sometimes life doesn't go the way you want it to go." And I was like,
"Yeah,
you can't. Only Father Michael can see right now." But I looked, my
jumped away from her.
My brain jumped away from her. Like, what?
Right? What'd you say?
What? I don't know if she was just saying it because it felt like it came out of nowhere too.
Sure.
It was like interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's that's part of it. I think as far as responsibility is concerned, our ability to respond to life needs to include a big dose of openness to things going differently than how we expect them to go. Yeah. So if I always sort of have these expectations and try to force life into my expectations, and if I don't manage to do that, then I get super upset, right? That's a way of responding to life that is it's not. I'm not able to respond to life in that sense. I'm unable. I'm unable.
Have we ever done control?
Well, that's kind of a major part of it. And
but have we ever done one on just control?
No.
Okay, well.
Yeah, we'll do
let's
that.
think about that.
Yeah,
is that
exactly, because it's control. It's the desire for control.
Right.
And
for your own life's outcome or whatever.
Right. So in many ways, the most responsible thing I can do is let go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The most responsible thing I can do is let go.
Yeah.
I have a friend like that. He just lets go.
Huh.
Almost to a fault. And he knows who he is.
You know who you are.
You know who you are if you ever actually listen to this.
Yeah. So on that note, we're going to let go of you, dear listener.
Indeed. It's a good time to let go.
Yeah. Yeah. So just, be responsible and let go. Not of the wheel when you're driving, but
I didn't see that coming. That's why that was so funny.
See, there you go. Unexpected.
Keeping me on my toes.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
See you next time.
See you next time.